All right, so I had to move areas, right? And so let me continue. Now, like I was saying, we did not originally impose high tariffs, not like they did on us. And so this is what be causing wars when they talk about tariff wars. Because what ends up happening is that, okay, people are set a tariff, right? And whoever the previous people were, evidently they agreed to these high tariffs or they allowed these high tariffs to go on, right? Whoever previous people were, right? In our government, legislation, all that kind of stuff, right? Now, what happens is that when you get somebody else that comes into office, you bring in a staff, you bring in a team, and what people do is that they evaluate. They evaluate things to see, okay, where we at, what's going on, who's doing what. There's been a lot of information, like I said, in the news, guys. You've had one news media outlet, they broke it down by how he was multiplying it and how he was balancing it. They were trying to make him look like he was wrong. You had others that were going by just the straight of what they percentage of that what they were charging, which is what I'm going by. I'm going by these, which is still high. Now you have to understand, guys, anywhere from 24 to 40 something percent. Guys, you pay 10% for tithe. Well, it's really 20% because you pay it every 2 weeks. And then you're paying a percentage of the government for already your taxes, like state wise and federal wise. So do you understand that those taxes are passed to you in various ways? Do you really understand like the effects of that? Like that is a huge, huge tax. So, but anyway, to these wars that get started, what happens is this one says, okay, if you don't renegotiate, there's always negotiations on the thing, right? So if you don't try to, do this or do that, then we're gonna match you. We're gonna cut match that, but you're doing it this way, we're gonna do it that way. And this is where the wars begin at, right? Right, right, right. So that's just natural. That's what men, when I say men, human beings do in general. Oh, you gonna move off my porch. Oh, well, I'm not moving off your porch. Okay, well, let's negotiate. You move over there. You move in the yard. No, I'm not moving off your porch. Okay, now we're gonna have a war now because you need to move off my porch. So I know I'm using it in that terms, but this is more international, this is more Texas, this is more global. But that's basically what be going on, right? So that's what's be causing these things. Now, what I want you to understand is that America has been, how people run around talking about homeless bums and welfare people and lazy people. I mean, you know how people do that, right? Lazy folks and welfare people and ooh, blah, 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 blah. The list goes on and on and on. They love to attack people. You're never looking at people's circumstances sometimes or their situations. People just love to throw them bombs out there, right? Well, if you really look at it, Dunkin' Donuts got everybody running on coffee. Starbucks got everybody chilling with the sea lady. But at the end of the day, these taxes got everybody in a bind. So when you have someone coming in, this is a lot of taxes, guys. This is what you're not realizing. Tax, 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 tax. We have our federal taxes. Some states have local taxes. You got to pay your state taxes. Then you got sales taxes. Dude, listen, this is pure slavery. Then you got this tax and that tax. Now I'm gonna go, like I said, I'm gonna go over some biblical stuff, right? This gonna really help you to understand some stuff. And now the companies pay the imported company, the companies that are inside, but the stuff that is being imported in, our companies are paying it, then they passing the taxes to us. Now this is crazy, guys. It's crazy. It's off the chains. So do you get the gist of all these taxes, right? This is basically what you call, to me, maybe not to you and maybe not to other people, a form of slavery. The reason why I'm gonna touch on the Bible because I'm gonna touch on points in scriptures where the Bible literally hits on these types of things happening, right? Now, so I just wanted to point that out. Now what I'm gonna do, uh, we're gonna go over Dems versus Republicans. So what that's basically about is the Democrats' argument and then the Republicans' argument. So you can see both sides. And to me, what they're still missing, because they argue. And that's the reason why we go through a lot of gridlock, because they can't agree on nothing. So some of the greatest ideas get thrown out because they can't agree on nothing. And they call it gridlocking. So that's what I was talking about earlier. People are short-term planning for votes. Give me the vote, give me the vote, just telling people what they want to hear. And we're in the pain of things. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some people that's making money. There's some people that say, I'm living my best life. That's cool. But that's not the majority of America. You understand what I'm saying? Even at the end of the day, like the old saying says, until we bring us all up, there's still going to be a struggle, right? Now, let's go over this with the Dems and the Republicans. Issues with the Republicans with tariffs, free market interference. Many traditional Republicans traditional, not all Republicans, but traditional, believe in free market capitalism. Tariffs to them are seen as a form of government interference that distort natural competition. Number two, impact on American businesses. Tariffs on imported goods can lead to a higher production cost for U.S. manufacturers that rely on foreign parts, hurting profits and competitiveness. Retaliation risk. Republican lawmakers often fear retaliatory, let me pronounce that word, retaliatory to, let's just say they retaliate. In other words, people be retaliating. They fear retaliation on tariffs from other countries, which can harm U.S. exports, especially from agriculture and industrial sectors in red states. Consumer cost increases. Higher prices on goods from electronics to clothing due to tariffs seen as indirect tax on American consumers. Okay. Issues with the Democrats. Now we're going to run over to the Democrats. So you see, that's the Republican. Like I said, you can stop this video, go back and listen to it. Now I'm going to show you the issues with the Democrats, with the tariffs. Working class harm. Democrats often highlight how tariffs can disproportionately affect low-income Americans who bear the brunt of rising consumer prices. Global corporation disruption. Many Democrats favor diplomacy and multilateral trade solutions over aggressive unilateral tariff policies, seeing them as damaging to global alliances. Okay. Climate and labor concerns ignored. They argue tariffs often don't consider labor rights or environmental protections, penalizing countries regardless of their progress in these areas. And risk to trade dependent jobs. Coastal and urban economies, which lean blue, often depend on international trade. Tariffs can threaten those jobs and industries. Again, you can stop, go back, listen, pause. You get to hear both sides. Both sides have valid points, but both sides are actually missing points. And I want to go over that with you, okay? Tariffs are a double-edged sword that reflect a deeper economic dependency and systemic vulnerability. Both parties tend to focus on short-term political or economic impacts, but they often miss structural truth and spiritual truth too. America's overreliance on foreign manufacturing and under investment in domestic infrastructure and innovation is the core issue, which it is. Remember when I said people are often talking about welfare people, homeless folks, this and this and that, and they so dependent, they need to do something, they lazy, which is not the case for all people, y'all. But if a nation is too dependent on other people, other countries, other nations, what happens if that nation becomes a betrayer? And you dependent on them for all their resources. What happened, boo? And they decide to pull out. and they decide to side with another country. No country is obligated to honor their oath. People break oaths all the time, break promises all the time. The problem is that we as a nation need to be cordial, need to be respectful, but we also need to be prepared. Right? Right. How many people tell now? It used to be a time where you didn't teach like that. It used to be a time where you didn't say, "Oh no, honey, put your savings to the side." But there's always been those types of women say, "Baby, I know you think love may last forever, and it might. I'm not saying it's not. I'm not trying to rain on your parade. But just in case he decide to punch you in the eye, and you need to run, have you a safety net." Ain't that what some of the elder women say? But were they wrong though? Look at our time and day and what happens with marriage. You know, people just don't have respect when it comes to marriage. I told you the times have changed. 20, 30, 40 years ago, people would be on jobs 20 and 30 years and get pensions and get stuff. Get a good watch, get a good pension, get all that. Times have changed. You can get fired in the drop of a dime. So if times have changed with jobs and times have changed with religion, people don't even respect religion no more. People go inside the church, honey, with their oochie coochie on and drop it like in the name of Jesus with the cross across their neck. Like it ain't nothing. There used to be a time that churches would stand up and say, "No, we can't be aborting babies. God said don't murder." Today they say women's rights. Times have changed. So if times have changed, what does that mean, y'all? Nobility? Or we need to make some solid choices to get things back on structure and back, if not on, maybe it was never on structure. Who knows? People get mad at that. People get mad at that. Make America great again. It wasn't never great. How you know? Well. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't. It's in the eye of the beholder. That's not what I'm here to argue. Whether it's great or it's not great, it doesn't mean it doesn't have an opportunity to get it right. And the only way you get it right is you study the time. Remember when the artist, y'all remember her name? Simone. Something Simone. I can't think of her name. She was a black artist. Remember when she said that quote? She said art should reflect your times. In other words, what you talking about, what you displaying, what you performing, it needs to reflect your times. So we need to be making decisions that reflect our times. We can't be going off 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Times have so changed, y'all. So we need to be looking at what's going on today. Yes, study historical. Yes, try to be noble. But if that's not working and negotiation is not working, what choices do we need to do that's going to preserve this country and make this country better, right? So again, our over reliance on other people, that's not a good thing. Us not having uh all the things that we need for ourselves is not a good thing. I'm gonna give you an example. Y'all remember what the Bible scripture said? Remember it said, I forget how many virgin wives it was. I forget how many people who had the lamps and all of that. Y'all know the story I'm talking about. I just will have to go read it, but y'all know the story I'm talking about. So y'all remember that story about the ones who was prepared and the ones who wasn't, and then the ones who was prepared, they had their stuff. And then the ones who wasn't prepared, they gonna run over there talking about, "Give me y'all stuff here, y'all help us out." Well, that's where America is at. And America shouldn't be in that state. Like, we're not supposed to be in that state on no level. And neither should they. Let's be honest with you guys, neither should they. Neither should they. Neither should they. Every place, if you're gonna play God in this earth and you're gonna make up governments and governing, then at least judge like a God. And if you over your people, which is your nation, you got to make sure you do right by your people. God does right by people. So God don't want his people dependent. God wants his people independent. You understand that? They go for all of us. I don't care what race you are, where you come from. If God approves of you, then God approves of you. It's just that simple. So if people gonna to run worlds like God or try to play a God, at least think like a God. So if you're going to have governments and you governing, you got to be looking out for your peeps. You got to be looking out for your nation. It's okay to correlate with other people. It's okay to do exchange. But nobody is guaranteed an oath. People break oaths all the time. Nobody is guaranteed a peace treaty. People break them all the time. As a matter of fact, the Bible said they will all break them. But are you prepared? Or are you going to be the one lacking the oil, lacking the lamp for your oil, and you're going to be trying to run to these other countries, and they're going to be shutting their doors? Y'all feeling me? So, tariffs highlight the imbalance, but neither party is seriously addressing how to do these specific things to rebuild resilient, self-sustaining companies, not just manufacturing, just companies in general, in communications, in all type of areas. No, it's still that competitive old nasty spirit in America. Some of us stay up, some of y'all stay down. Then wonder why this country in trouble. Still that old same type of mentality. Everybody got the testimonies going on of how everything being saved, but still behind closed door, that same old funky type of mentality, right? Also investing in workforce retraining for for the future economy. Like I said, things done changed all the way back from when it used to be, 20 years ago. Ideas have changed. Things have shifted. Things are more technological. Things are more AI. Some investment is being done, but we don't need to have an all AI force and an all robotic force. We don't even need to have like working slaves. We need to think of such great ideas, making people independent entrepreneurs, everybody exchanging with each other. Remember, like bartering, you got this? Okay, I got that. You got this? I got that. Okay, I can buy this from you. You can buy that from me. Okay, we can help each other here. And communities building back up, helping each other. Communities, for real. Instead of trying to break down communities, instead of trying to isolate communities, instead of trying to conquer and divide communities again. Communities. People used to at least have communities. Now they have what they call they little social cliques. That's a little bit different. Leveraging tariffs as a smart strategic tool, not just a political weapon or ideological badge. Some people wanted to tariff us so much so that we would be enslaved. Tariffs should never be used for that. If you ask me my opinion, I don't think tariffs should ever be over 1%. I ain't gonna even lie to you. 1 or 2%, boo. How the hell you come up with 20 and 30 and 40? Aren't the people already being taxed? Not just in America, but in China, Mexico, all these places. Aren't they already being taxed? And God forbid if you go into one of these religious synagogues, then you got to give some more money. And then you got to give money to charities. And then you got to pay your sales tax, all the tax. Y'all. Tariffs, international exchange, in my lovely, humble opinion, no more than 1 to 2%. The world is not separated. It's the world. Get the stuff over there. Because who the money going to anyway? It's government revenue. And I'm not saying that the government don't. Oh, I'm gonna hit on this biblical thing, y'all. Y'all gonna really find out about this government revenue. This gonna be good to your ears. Because it's supposed to be, but it's supposed to be for a reason. I'm gonna hit on it. I'm getting there.